Bro, look at that mustache. First of all, I gotta say your mustache game is superior on point, brother.
You kidding me, man? Shit, I can barely grow it, man.
It looks superior, man. And Art, thank you for joining me today. Where do I start with your amazing journey in martial arts and everything that you've accomplished in films, brother? I do this, and I appreciate you. Don the Dragon Wilson, you had
Bro,
the opportunity to direct him, right?
yeah, I did 4 films with Don. I mean, we go back a long time, and it's the biggest problem when I work with Don is that after each shoot, I get bigger and bigger laugh lines because we're always fucking laughing, you know. Always have a good time.
He's an absolute great guy, and you're an absolute great guy. Um, let's talk about your journey. What
Yeah.
got you started in martial arts and choreography for film?
You know what? I mean, I come and I've told the story before and I keep telling it because let me preface it by saying, number one, I'm very, very lucky, very blessed, but I work my ass off. I work my ass off. I eat, sleep, and breathe this. Um, what I do, as a matter of fact, let me tell you a quick story about a set I just came off of. It was a very simple gag. I was just doing, helping somebody set up a stunt. Um, I've done the stunt, numerous times, but it's been like a few years since I've done it. So I prep like 1 or 2 days before, making sure it was perfect. So when I get to the set, we walk on the set, and of course it was perfect. But people watching it thinking, "Damn, this guy's brilliant. He just put that thing together in no time." No, I was like fucking sweating it out, man. I was working it, prepping, and that's what I do before I do anything, brother. Even honestly, I get so many people pissed off at me because they want to do these Zoom calls and stuff like that, Zoom interviews, and I'm more than happy to. God bless, seriously. But to me, I have to prepare mentally. I have to be at the right space, and then on top of that, obviously, I'm busier than heck right now. Thank God. But that's what it is. I don't like just to do throw stuff out there, brother. I'm that way. I'm just so over prepared, over prepared. You know, going back to what you said, because I grew up in the barrio as a fat little kid, ugly. I'm still ugly, not as fat, but still ugly. But but you know what? I used to get bullied, picked on. I was the biggest wimp I could imagine, and I hated it. I hated it like you not believe. And one year, so many things were like the perfect storm, where I got jumped by 5 guys. And they beat the shit out of me. I'm telling you, man, I got 11 stitches here, busted teeth. I mean, you name it. I got it. It took me 3 weeks before I had enough courage to leave my house. That's how afraid I was. But then eventually that fear started, getting inside, building up inside, and it became a lot of hate, a lot of anger. So I started the martial arts. Simultaneously, I discovered Bruce Lee, and I was blown away. It's like, holy shit, what is that? I'm straight as they come. I love ladies like there's no tomorrow. But I saw Bruce Lee, like, holy crap, that guy's a handsome son of a gun. Look at the ripped shred. Look at how he moves, you know? And those two things combined, I think eventually led me to find eventually my Sifu, which is Eric Lee. I mean, I've had a lot of Sifus. Even right now, I'm training with the Sifu with Samuel Kwok. I'm always training. I'm always a student. Um, but that turned my whole life around. Literally getting beat up, seeing Bruce Lee, discovering martial arts, and just it literally did. To this day, I'm grateful to the guys who beat. I still want to beat the shit out of them if I ever see them, but I'm grateful to them because if it wasn't for that, that really took me to an extreme point emotionally to make a change in my life. You know, and
Jeet Kune Do, the Bruce Lee style.
yeah,
Um, do you have a hybrid of what you do as you are definitely a mixed martial artist, correct?
yeah. The one thing I didn't get as heavy into as I would have loved to was the BJJ, but I think they're all good. And what I do, even when I used to teach self defense and I teach movement fighting and self defense, but my self defense, I can't say it's one art or another art because what it is, like you said, it's a hybrid. It's where my body is at that point in time. So, and I've trained, many years ago. I had some sessions with the Kali Academy with Daniel Santo, with Jerry Poteet, but my core system is one up Kendo, and then I train in Kali, some kickboxing, boxing, And yeah, you know what? All around, I think all around it, and I when I hear the term Jeet Kune Do, it's so overused and so I think misinterpreted, and that's why I never really I mention it, but I don't use it because I don't want to take away from Bruce Lee. I'm not good enough. I'm just Art Camacho, and I just do my thing, and I'm influenced by him. I'm influenced by all my great teachers, but I'm not good enough to represent them. That's the way I feel. Even though they say I am, I still feel I'm a white belt. In my mind, I'm always learning.
Well, that's very humble, and that's martial arts in general is about being humble and disciplined. Um, so let's talk about like your origin, about how you got into it. Art, like, obviously, you are a tremendous martial artist. Like, we cannot, you know, put that to the wayside. That is something that is definitely a significant thing that our listeners will be so appreciative to hear. Um, you and your journey, like, how did it start? Like, what made you want to start in martial arts?
It was that experience getting my ass kicked that I first started. But here's the thing, I'm 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 not defined by my failure, but failure has had a big big influence in my life. I've failed at almost everything I've done. When I started in Japanese karate. My parents wanted me to do that. I lasted 3 or 4 months. The instructor was very nice, a nice white guy. He told my parents, he goes, you know what? Your son's a good kid, but he's not cut out for this karate. So I quit there. I tried Taekwondo. Same thing. I lasted. I went to a couple of tournaments. I just wasn't into it. It wasn't until I found my kind of my foundation, which is in One Hop Kendo, which is Eric Lee's, Aldo Costco's system. It's a derivative of Kaji Kembo. That's kind of my foundation of Kaji Kembo. Then everything else kind of influences that, like whether it's Jeet Kune Do, whether it's Wing Chun, Sifu Samuel Kwok, or whether it's kickboxing, because I off and on, since I've worked with Don so much, I'm always learning. I'm like a sponge. I also did Sun Tzu Kung Fu for a while, which I like. I think all arts have something positive to contribute. It's just a matter, I think, at the end of the day, I really believe Jeet Kune Do is Bruce Lee, and I think the martial arts is the individual. How you practice it, no one's better than worse, but it's you as the individual, and that's what I did. And at first, I started martial arts to beat people up. That's all I wanted to do is find those guys, beat the crap out of them. I'll be honest with you, straight up. I just want to beat the shit out of these guys because they really messed me up. Then, as I started evolving in martial arts, wow, it opened a whole new world. And out of the blue, my Sifu called me up one day, and that's what started my journey in films. He says, "Hey, Art, do you want to get your butt kicked for $50? I do it for free. $50? Are you nuts? Of course." I went there, and it was like an epiphany. Like the angels singing and the the light shining down on you. When I did my first choreo, a stunt fight, and I said, "This is what I want to do." And
Okay, so I have a great question for you right now. I'm an actor. I do some stunt choreography and stuff like
yeah.
that. And how do you set up for a scene? Do you like envision that, or do you do it like impromptu? Like, how does that come together, Art?
You know what? I'll tell you, and again, I apologize, I'm long-winded, but I'll tell you a quick story of a set I just came off of. It's a Western I just shot. The first Western ever. I'm like excuse my language, I'm a fucking kid in a candy store, man. I love it, love it, love it, love it. So here I am. It's about this one guy's going to go. He's going to take on like 12 guys, and I'm looking at the set. We're in a Western set. I got all these guys. I got guns, and I said, you know what? He could walk through it, or instead, this sounds crazy, but I made a kata. I made a kata and a movement. I created a kata. And out of that kata, I turned that into the gun sequence. So I said, okay, instead of a strike, now you got the gun, you shoot that guy up there. You come around here, you shoot this guy here, you shoot this guy here, And it was so cool, so cool. But how I design a fight generally is basically you read the script, because I'm telling you, but the script is very important. Why? Because you have to understand the characters, the story, the setting. Because if you do this, if it's not a chopsucky kind of film, and you do chopsucky fights, it kind of takes you out of the movie. It's got to be generic. I think, let's say, for instance, John Wick is brilliant. I mean, those guys are brilliant at what they did. they incorporate, made that the style of the movie. But going back to the evolution of films, kung fu films from the '70s, where it was kung fu, the '80s was with ninja, the '90s was kickboxing, and so on and so forth. But you find your character, who your character is. So then once you understand the character, you start understanding what are his limitations. What can he do? Okay, he's an average guy who has like 2 weeks of karate training. He's not going to be doing jump spin kicks. He's not going to be doing really clean jujitsu grabs and whatever. So you understand all that. And then you go into the setting, you see your environment. Because the last thing you want is, let's say, for instance, if you're in a China store with all this China and two guys just fighting in the middle. Screw that. We're going to smash China. We're there. Use the environment. And then thirdly, if I'm directing, it's different. But if not, you consult with the director, and you consult with the director of photography, finding out what is the style they want to shoot. If they leave it up to you, then I'll determine how to put the cameras and what kind of motion to put into the shots. But if not, it's them. If they say, okay, Art, we shoot our master from this angle, we do coverage here. So then you plan it around the camera. Why? Because time is money. If you can shoot it, and as you know from yourself from fighting, you have to sell it to the camera. And if you can sell it as much as you can to a master angle, all the other shots are gravy in to really make it look bitchin'. Versus, oh fuck, we have to clean this up. Oh shit, we have to clean this up. And that's pretty much it. I go into it, and I'm designing a story within the fight. I have my 3-act play, beginning, middle, and end. And then you have the drama, you have the ebbs and the flows, and then you just have fun.
What was your favorite scene that you choreographed? I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
No. I think honestly, going back to believe it or not, to the '90s, when I was doing a lot of those films. There was one film in particular, and this film, believe it or not, this is where I literally cut my teeth. This film led to me eventually second unit directing and directing. It was called To Be the Best. I was already choreographing a lot of films for PM Entertainment at the time, and they gave me this job to do on this film. So what I did, I took like I don't know, like 18 guys with me, something like that, to Vegas for like 2 weeks. How hard is that? What kind of, like, come on. Fun. So, but what I was doing, I was choreographing. I had to choreograph a total of like 32, 33 fights for the movie. 16, 17 of them were in the ring, because at that time they were, instead of MMA matches, they were like kickboxing, pseudo kickboxing matches. So out of those 17 fights, I was in 3 of them. So 14 fights. So I literally would get, every day I would get in this big ass room, everybody's fighting, and I'd be choreographing. And I got to the point where, from the peripheral vision was so acute to things, I could be choreographing with you, and this guy's over here, I could see where he threw the wrong technique. I would stop, I'd say, I'd go over here, change this to a roundhouse kick, boom, go back, all of a sudden this guy screwed up here. Okay, no, make that a hook. Okay, then come back to you, you know what I'm saying? And those fights were amazing. But then we had literally, like on the big films, because I worked with Steven Seagal on this big film for Sony Pictures called Half Past Dead. We had 2 weeks of rehearsals and 4 days to shoot each action sequence, and it was storyboarded on top of that. On To Be the Best, we had 2 days to. I mean, I had a couple of days of prep to choreograph, but literally 18 to 12, 8 hours, 11, 19 hours to shoot and cover 17 bitch and ring fights. That's, I mean, that's like gangbusters. But here's the trick, brother. Here's the trick. When we're doing scenes in that movie, the producer, director, we were going through the bowels of the hotel casino, because we had a casino all to ourselves. He would stop. He had a camera and a guy with the lights. And by the minute the camera was put down and the lights were up, I had to have a fight choreographed. 10 minutes at most. And shot. So, okay, Art, are you ready? Yes. Boom. They shoot the fight. Boom. Pick up the camera. Go to the next section. You go, I want to shoot a fight here. Put the camera down. I swear to God, man. And some of those fights are really fun. But just the experience, brother. John, that is the best school. I cannot tell you. That prepared me for everything I've done.
So outside of Bruce Lee, who was like your main influence as far as fighting, whether it be boxing or mixed martial arts or, just karate in general? Like what got you into this game?
You know what? It goes back to Bruce Lee, but here's the thing. I am such a TV fanatic, such a TV fanatic. I used to watch, believe it or not, I like Batman over Green Hornet. Even though Bruce Lee was my boy, Batman was the pals and all this shit. But honestly, especially now, in the last 3 years of my life, I got into Westerns. Every morning, I get my Western hour. So I'll watch like, Wanted Dead or Alive, I'll watch Paladin, or I'll watch John Wayne movies. Those sons of guns, man, they had it going, man. They had it going. And that's what I'm saying. Because a lot of times, here's what happens. Here's my pet peeve. Because I see so many videos, people send me videos, they post videos, and each one looks like the other. Each one looks like the other. It's repetitious. And what it is there's two things. When I teach people two things. I teach acting as well as stunt fighting. So I tell them there's two things that are very important. And this is a lesson. There is the actor or performer awareness. What you know the choreography, you know your lines, right? And then there's the character awareness. He doesn't know shit. He just knows that he's in the scene with you, and all of a sudden something breaks out. So it has to be fresh, right? So when you're doing the dialogue, it has to be fresh. Same thing with the fighting. You got to think. Let's say, for instance, if I throw you, John, if I'm going to throw that punch at you, in my mind, I'm thinking, this is the super duper Art Camacho punch. It's going to fucking knock him from here to 20, and it goes at you. All of a sudden, when you block it, it's like, holy shit. What the fuck do I do now? Now I do the super, you know what I'm saying? So then that's where Jackie Chan is a master, because you see him. He's literally reacting to everything, responding emotionally as well as the technique. And a lot of stuff. That's the thing about Bruce Lee, is that son of a gun. You could watch Enter the Dragon over and over, Chinese Connection over and over, those fights where he's fighting all those guys, and there's not a hint that he's going to throw this one technique. And when he does, his whole body's into it. It's not just the leg; it's his whole fucking body's like bam. You know.
He is unbelievable in those films. Chinese Connection, amazing film. If people have not seen that movie, I mean, Enter the Dragon is like the one that everyone talks about. And, this is a movie here where Chinese Connection, like, it is just absolutely amazing. Bruce Lee was phenomenal. So I want to actually segue into martial arts films. I have two martial arts films that I love the fight choreography. Best of the Best Part 2,
Great,
and Lethal Weapon 4. What are your favorite films, Art?
You know what? Honestly, I'm trying to think of martial arts films that I like per se that are really, really stand out. I mean, the Raid to me set the bar. The Raid, because, and here's what people always tell me, and here's where producers come to me. We want to do the Raid. They don't understand how to do the Raid. I mean, unfortunately, with a lot of today's stars, with exceptions of like Keanu Reeves or the Tom Cruises, look at Keanu Reeves. That guy trains for months on end before he goes to do those John Wick. That's why you get that quality. Whereas a lot of these guys, unfortunately, on the lower budgets, they don't put in the time. They don't have that drive. They don't have that passion. And it's sad, because it's like, God damn it, I'm like I told you, I eat, sleep, and breathe 24/7 this stuff. I want the best for my people to look their best, but we cannot get the Raid. We cannot get John Wick if you don't work at it. End of story. End of story. That's why I told you, there's not, apart from the Raid and the John Wick series, I like the original, even though it was way over the top, was Matrix. And it was the cinematic, not so much the martial arts, because the martial arts to me was a little bit, it was a little stiff, but I mean, I love the way they combined everything from the martial arts to the camera moves, and it was really, really, really raised the bar for all of us.
Well, that's the one that did it for you. I mean, for me, it was Best of the Best Part 2. I thought Philip Reeve, even Best of the Best Part 1 with Simon, just amazing fight choreography. Like, it was very sellable.
Very well. Again, going back to what I was saying, Philip Reeve and Simon, I know Philip a little more than Simon, but Philip is an amazing perfectionist. It's an amazing perfectionist. That guy just works and works. Another one, I was doing a film in Germany with Steven Seagal when Don Yen was shooting the series for Germany. That guy is amazing. I mean, one of the crew told me that they were doing the scene where he flicks a cigarette They did something like 20 takes because the cigarette was not just perfect. I mean, that's Donnie Yen. That's why Donnie Yen, is where he's at. I mean, that guy is one of the perfectionists and badass guys out there. Nice guy. Met him once. Nicest guy on the planet.
Well, you've worked with some amazing talent. Don the Dragon Wilson, I've had the opportunity to be friends with and also had him on my show. Um, what was it like working with Don? I mean, he seems like such a great martial artist.
Don, I met him first when I worked on one of his films. I think it was it was Out for Blood that I worked with him on. But I met him during the Ring of Fire, and I did some stunts on that one. But working with Don, that's what I told you. It's just like working with your buddies. I mean, I love him to death. I really do. As a person, as a kickboxer, he can beat the shit out of you. I mean that 100%. But what happens sometimes is in the beginning, because he can do that, he was always pulling back. I would tell him, Don, hit him a little harder. you know, Don knows the damage he can do. Don knows the damage he can do. And he would err on the side of being safe, which is good, don't get me wrong. But I would want him to just to push the envelope just a little bit, just get the full extension. Even if you have to buy more space in terms of your punch, just get that full extension because he's just amazing. When you see him, one of my favorite things in the film we did, Redemption, it was a scene where we had to modify because there's certain circumstances like when you shoot films, it's never a perfect scenario. But I had cameras, I had a ring, I had smoke machine. I said, Don, just shadow box, and it was like poetry in motion. I mean, when you see him go, you see him move, and you see his kicks. And the thing is, this guy does not warm up sometimes, and he'll just start kicking a bag, and it's just the bag is whip, whip. It's like, dang, man, dang. And as a human being, just phenomenal. Fun guy, great storyteller.
Absolutely great storyteller and great martial artist. And I actually had an experience recently as an actor myself on film set location where I'm supposed to like do like a stunt situation and um I just go back to boxing because that's what I know. And
Yeah.
so next thing I know, I'm slipping, dodging,
Yeah.
ducking, it's crazy. So what propelled you? Again, I'm going to ask you that question. Is that to make you want to be a stunt coordinator for amazing films? Because let's face facts, Art. Like you've done amazing fight choreography. Was there an influence to that?
John, let me tell you, everything I did, everything I've done in films, after my first film, I had a lot of fun. I thought this is a fluke. Hey, I did it once. They called me again for a second one. Hey, cool, I done it twice. Fun shit. Everything. That's why I really strongly believe. I'm not going to push religion because I'm not religious, but I believe in God, and I strongly believe that He has kind of a game plan for us because I'm telling you, John, I had done like 20 films as a stunt fighter, actor, and having fun, getting my butt kicked, kicking butt. And I always do. Here's what I always do. I always give 200%. I always give 200%. I always give not 100, 200% because I'm just that way. So out of the blue, 1 year, 2 years into it, or no, a year into the industry, two, I don't even remember, but a producer, director said, "Hey, Art, do you want to choreograph films for me?" And I thought, choreograph, I don't know. I'm not good. I'm not a choreographer. I don't know how to choreograph. What you tell me what to do and I'll do it. And finally, they prodded and asked me, and so finally accepted it, and I did it, and I did it so well that they asked me again, again. Then other companies started asking me, and that's how it started, brother. I mean, I wasn't really setting out myself out to be anything. At first, I just wanted to act. I really thought that would be what I wanted to do, but it's like when you fit in a comfortable pair of shoes or pants. That's what the word choreography fit me. It fit me so well, and it fits so good. It felt so real. And my influences were just emotional connection to the fight. That's any film that has an emotional connection to a fight. I love that to death.
I'm moved by everything you said right there about like the whole passion and getting the opportunity to do something that maybe you didn't think you could do. But
Yeah.
then next thing you know, you're out there and you're working with Don the Dragon Wilson. You're working on great film sets, and you're showing people great fight choreography, and also rocking that badass mustache. I have to bring it back.
I have to tell you, buddy, it's fun. But you're right. I didn't think I could do it. And then in 4 years into it, after about 50, 60 movies, one year, two producers asked me if I wanted to direct movies again. First, I thought they were just fucking with me. Excuse my language, but I just thought, come on, don't tease me. One director came up to me. He says, "Hey, Art, you want to direct movies?" I said, "Yeah, sure," just like that, because I thought, you know what, come on. Just a week later, his secretary calls up. She says, "Mr. Camacho, your meeting is for Wednesday. We want to meeting for what? For the film you're going to direct for us." It's like, holy crap, holy
What
crap!
was that like to direct, man? That's got to be an incredible experience.
It was the scariest thing in my effing life, brother. The scariest thing, because even though I over prepared, I was so scared. And I remember specifically this one producer. He has a thing. When you, like, for instance, people who don't know, every time you shoot a sequence, it's called a take. Take one, take two, take three. And this producer has a very strict rule that you do not do, because again, at that time it was film, not video. It was film, so it's very expensive. You do not do more than three takes per shot. And I was past my first shot of the whole movie, and I'm on take five, and I'm sweating it. It's not coming together. It's not coming together. Take six, it's not coming together. Take seven, I said, I'm getting effing fired on my first film. I'm fired. He sees this shit. I'm fired. We got take seven, and all of a sudden, it was one of those things again, angels singing, lights coming down, that it clicked. It clicked so well that my idea worked. It was a complicated shot, but it actually worked. So then it's like, yeah, I got this. And from then on in, man, it was just like clicking, 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 clicking. It was beautiful. It's a film called The Power Within.
I know you're a very humble guy. I mean, how amplified did you feel when that clicked?
Oh,
When you put all the perseverance, all the hard work into this scene to get
oh,
it done?
I'm telling you, brother, it was almost a spiritual experience, because all of a sudden I felt this confidence just sweep over me. And it's like, yes, 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 Art, you are correct. You are on the right path. I found where I should be. It was a weird kind of thing, because after that, I'm telling you, man, it was just coming to me. Because the thing is, since I'm not educated, I'm a high school dropout. I dropped out at 16. I don't have film school. I don't know half. And I tell filmmakers, they are more prepared than I will ever be. They know how to turn on the camera. They know how to edit. You probably know a hell of a lot more than I will ever know about film. But I'm doing it. I
I
feel
say the same thing all the time to all the actors I work with. I'm like, I luckily had the opportunity recently to do some film shoots, and I was offered the opportunity based on who I know and doing the podcast and whatever. They're like, "Hey, you want to act?" I'm like, "Sure. Uh, why not? It pays a little bit." And then you get there and it's like, wow, it's a crazy universe.
yeah, yeah. But and again, I don't know if you have the same thing where you feel, yeah, this is my home. And I've mentored so many people. And the first thing, this last person I took under my wing, I told them, on day one, I said, you're going to do two things. I'm going to ask you two things. After this week is over, I want you to tell me two things. Either get me the hell out of here, I never want to see you again, or I am home. I am home. 3 days into the shoot, I'm chewing his ass out, ripping him a new asshole. And he says, Mr. Camacho, I am home. And he found himself, and he did a really brilliant job. Because that's all we need sometimes, just the opportunity.
Well,
Just
it's all about the opportunity, and also like we're both fighters, right? So when you're doing it for film, it's completely different. Like anyone that has the opportunity, and God bless you for getting that opportunity to go out there. It's a whole different experience because it's for film.
yeah,
Like I'm a boxer by trade. I'm
yeah,
also a mixed martial artist, and So when you do it for film, it's completely different. So I want to ask you, Art, is
Yeah.
that um how do you prepare actors, maybe people that aren't even, experienced in martial arts or any kind of combative sport? How do you prepare them to do that?
You know what? I prepare them by basically I teach them how to dance. Because what I do is like when you're saying about mixed martial arts, excuse me, I borrow heavily from boxing and Kali in terms of my footwork. The boxing I get the mobility from, and the Kali I work the angles. I work the angles. So I get them basically. It's almost like if you're doing the waltz with somebody, I draw out a triangle and I have them go from point A to point B to point C, point A, and then reverse. And once they get that, then I show them upper body mobility, keeping their hands up. And little by little, I teach them to dance the waltz. you
It's a
know,
dance maneuver, right?
yeah. And then
Yep.
then now with your footwork, now you extend your hand. Now you extend your hand. You extend it here, and I teach them. Basically, this is the hardest thing to teach. Is like, for instance, parrying, because a lot of times their instinct is to do this, to swat it, as opposed to parrying with a little bit with the body, coming in and striking, and incorporating the whole body. So those that takes a little longer. But I mean, what I do is I work at their with their body type and what their weaknesses are, and I work within the weaknesses to make them strengths.
Well, that's great for on behalf of your patients and as someone that's acted before and stunt and things I've done, like it's great to have patience. And you're absolutely correct with what you said. It's like you were talking about, like, jockeying for position and blocking. It's so weird because what they had me doing was so completely opposite because they want it for the camera.
Right.
So I'm thinking like a boxer, you know. So generally, what I do is that if someone throws a left hand at me, I'm gonna raise mine up and block it. But they want it to be like so theatrical. And I just want people to understand that what we're talking about right now is that what these fighters or actors do in film cinematography is pretty exceptional. It's remarkable. I have a couple of favorites, like I mentioned before: Best of the Best Part Two, Lethal Weapon 4. I'm sure you all have some other ones out there. Art, you mentioned a couple other ones. Is there any movies recently that you feel that have the code of conduct of great cinematography in martial arts?
The ones I like, believe it or not, recently I saw the Falcon and the Snow. So that Marvel one, that Captain America Marvel one. I loved it. I love that series. It was really bitching. The fight action was great. It was fun. It was kinetic. It was really cool. And that's what I'm saying. The bar is so high right now, and we can do it. It just takes the dedication. That's what the films you're talking about. Whether it's because Lethal Weapon 4 is the one that had with Jet Li. So you have a lot of stuff in there, and then best of the best again. Philip Ree had an amazing presence, and he's an amazing martial artist, and he's dedicated. He is really, really. I've never worked with him, but I've known of him. We were friends, but he's an amazing, amazing human being and an amazing martial artist, and it shows. Case in point, I would always hear, like for instance, when I did one of my first films, when I produced one of my first films as a producer, was called Final Playback. I hired John Saxon. So John Saxon, Roper and Enter the Dragon. I hired him because I had a shitload of pictures and posters that I wanted signed. So first day on the set, I'd take him to his trailer, Enter the Dragon poster, all kinds of stuff. But and number one, he was a brilliant actor, of course. But it was really cool because I'm geeking out in him in the trailer. He's signing me all these pictures of his and stuff, but also talking about Bruce Lee stories. Bruce Lee stories that Enter the Dragon. I think him, obviously Bob Wall, Jim Kelly became friends, and just hearing the preparation and the obsession that Bruce Lee had, and then talking to a lot of people who knew him. I don't know if you knew this, but many years ago, I was a volunteer for this Bruce Lee museum in Hollywood. I used to go there, give my time, clean, sweep floors, do whatever it took, man. When I was young, and uh, and I had the privilege and honor. That's how I met Bruce Lee's wife, and we went to her house once for a meeting, and it was so effing cool. We're at Linda Lee's house, Linda Lee, right? We're sitting there having tea at Bruce Lee's house with these cups they were from Way of the Dragon, that Linda served us tea, and she told us a story about somebody gave them to her or whatever. So it was a surreal experience. I'm sitting there, we're talking to Linda Lee, drinking cups in Bruce Lee's house with Bruce Lee cups. She took us into this room where she had his library, and there was his little handwritten thing that says "Walk On," and he was like a guy. I swear to God, John, I was like, 12, 13 all over again, man. then the year after that, we did this big Bruce Lee convention event in New York, and we went with Bruce Lee's mother, and she teaches me how to use chopsticks. Bruce Lee's mother, Grace Lee, is like, holy moly, geeking
Come
out.
on. Really?
Yeah, I swear to God, man, Bruce Lee's mother taught me how to use chopsticks.
What were you guys eating?
We were eating
Was it?
it was a Chinese restaurant, and there was some noodles or whatever. And I got a fork, and she looked at me, and she said something. She took the fork out of my hand, put those two sticks in my hand, and it's like when Bruce Lee's mother tells you use chopsticks, you could damn well better learn how to use chopsticks right then and there. She put them in my hand, and
Absolutely. What were you thinking at that moment in time, outside of what you just said right there, when Bruce Lee's mom tells you to use the chopsticks and she instructs you? But like, what was going on in your head, like to process that's incredible.
I couldn't even process it. I still can't process it. I talk about it, and I still can't believe I experienced it.
Wow.
It's an out of body experience, just like being at Bruce Lee's house. I mean, I still can't tell you. I can't even, I'm serious. Words are not sufficient to say how, for me, that was my biggest influence in life. I put him up there as high as I can go as any human being in my life.
Elvis Presley, Bruce Lee, there are certain people, Muhammad Ali, that will just always be the ultimate source of just wow.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, wow. Michael Jackson,
I met Michael Jackson.
Oh, you did?
They were at one time, I don't know if you're familiar, they were, Disneyland was doing, God damn it, I forgot, it was their first 3D show. Heck, darn, I forgot the name of it. But they were planning this big event there, and my Sifu, Eric Lee, got invited because he was going to put a martial arts sequence in there. So I go with Eric Lee to the studio. There's Francis Ford Coppola, who's director, and there's Michael Jackson. We just said hi and bye, but he was wearing, one of his mask faces. But I was like, oh my God. I was geeking out. Michael Jackson. Unfortunately, I might have been part of it because what happened is that Francis Ford Coppola, first he wanted 20 guys, and they got the 20 guys, and then his vision grew to like 200 guys, and then the studio said, no, cut it down, cut that sequence out, it's way too much. But I stood this close of a chance of being into a Michael Jackson project, man. It was so bitching meeting him. I'm telling you, I can't, that's what I'm saying. When you ask how it is, I still can't believe it. When I say it, I'm thinking, holy shit, I actually met these guys.
You met Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. One of the most like recognizable people on the planet for whatever reasons that people might have. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you cannot argue the fact that everyone knows Michael Jackson's name.
Yeah. And look,
universally.
To tell you how weird the world is, a week after he passed on, I was on the phone with this guy from Germany who was Michael Jackson's partner. They both had a publishing company and they published a book called King of Pop. King of Pop, which is literally Michael Jackson and this guy that I was speaking with on the phone. He had heard of me and he had wanted me to direct a movie, a biography based on the book. Can you believe that? A week after Michael Jackson passed on. Unfortunately, the partners that hooked this up together, they got stupid. They were the biggest idiots on the effing planet, the biggest SOBs, period. And it didn't go. But we had it. I could have done the definitive Michael Jackson biography. And that's okay.
Right now, Art, I'm going to tell you a couple things about me. I'm a drummer. I'm a musician.
Oh wow.
Obviously, Tama T-shirt. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
repping the drum company, Tama Drums, one of my favorites. I love music, and you look at the Thriller record from Michael Jackson going back in the day. I mean, that is some of my favorite artists of
Yeah.
all time. That
Yeah.
was personnel on that from Toto
Wow.
um, in the 80s. And Michael Jackson always represented himself very well. Obviously, his dancing ability was incredible. I mean, to say the least. And then also, um, his vocal presence was phenomenal. And we have to understand what happened with Michael is that his father had a lot of bullying on him, and you know, but Michael persevered. Michael, challenged himself, and I don't want to speak for you, Art, but I think that that Michael succeeded in his life the best way he could have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, when you're in the public as much as he is, and you got these pressures on you all the time, and again, you're setting the bar. You keep setting the bar. You keep setting the bar, and just so many things. And again, when he, because I have a couple of friends who were very tight with him, and when he had that Pepsi accident when it burned his skull completely, all back here, he had no hair, so he was always using wigs, and that kind of messed with him. And I could never be in his shoes. Nobody can, but I can relate to what he's going through and what he's going through. And it was sad for me to see the things that happened to him and how his reputation was in tatters. And you know, uh, it could happen to any of us, especially again, especially the right now. And I hate to say this, but this whole any trend in life gets carried away. Whether it's Me Too, BLM, all that stuff gets carried away. It starts off with a righteous thing, then it morphs into something so incredulous. Because even now, I'm having to rethink. Because when I go to public events, people are always taking pictures. So they're hugging me, they're doing this, and I'm like this, and then the back of my head is like, oh shit, you know, what can I, all of a sudden you're gonna see those headlines: Art Camacho is molesting people, and it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, a great point that you're making too, and I can relate to it, is that if we look at, like we talked about boxing earlier, Mike Tyson, he's
Yeah,
21 years old. He wins the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Everyone's telling him he is the best of the best. And he's getting women thrown at him, all this type of shit. And then people give him complications. I'm not saying what Mike did was right.
no, no, no.
I'm not
But
saying what he did was right, but I mean, it happens. It happens when people get like fame and celebrity. So I
yeah,
want to ask you, Art, like how do you deal with that? I mean, that's a great um scenario for a lot of people that listen to my show. They, obviously are actors, musicians, people that are persevering. um, how do you keep a good composure?
well, here's the thing, John, and again, I'm a speck of sand compared to anybody of these big people you mentioned. But having said that, I'm in the public a lot, and opportunities arise like that when people, not throw themselves, but come on to you and stuff like that. And it's flattering. Don't get me wrong, because I still have a fucked up self-esteem. But um, like in the back of my head, I always have this saying. Somebody told me, I forgot who told me, but excuse my language, but don't shit where you eat. Don't shit where you eat. That keeps going through my head because this is my business. This is I am here to work, clock out, then I leave, and then I just go home. And I try to live as good as best I can. I'm a sinner like all of us, and I screw up a lot, but that keeps going through my head because all it takes is one person to kind of start bad words about you. Because I've had some friends who are stuntmen who recently got in a bad rap, and it's like I know them. I don't think they would have done anything like it, but they've been accused, and sometimes, and again, I defend everybody who's experienced bad things in their life, and I'm in their corner. But I think that the people who've lied and who've prostituted this whole thing are giving these people a bad name, the victims a bad name. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, before we sign off here, first of all, how do we grow a mustache such as yours? Because I got to keep bringing it back, bro. Art, I got to bring it. I got to bring it up. I mean, it's for real, for real.
You pluck out the grays. You pluck out the grays. It's like, oh, ouch, 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 ouch. Your brain knows. Oh man, I can't. I tried. I tried to go. This growing, it didn't work for me. I can't grow this. I can't grow this. You look good. You look good like this. I like that. I tried that look. It didn't work for me. It looks great on you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
I wish I had this. And honestly, I'll tell you, John, what we just discussed in this last 20 minutes, I've never talked on any podcast. This is very unique to you, brother. And thank you for doing
Oh, bro, I'm so thankful for having you on. And for my listeners, I have a big martial arts community that listen, boxing, people like that. Art, I'm going to put you on the spot again. What can you suggest to the up and coming fighter, people that are training, people that are trying to do movies? What can you suggest to
Well,
them?
here's a couple things I'll say right off the bat, which is very important. Number one, decide whether you want to be a celebrity or an artist. And by that, I mean, a lot of people want to be famous. Hey, look at me, look at me. I want to be a great director. I want to be a great choreographer, just like you want to be a great actor. As opposed to be famous on look at all my followings on Facebook. Look at all my followers on Instagram. Those people, they don't give a shit about the craft. They just give a shit about looking good. There's a difference. I try to look good, but I'd rather be better at my craft than looking good. Two things. Take it as a business. If you're like, I've had so many people come, championship people in the highest levels of the martial arts or this thing, take it as a business. Okay, this is a business. Okay, I need to learn how to stunt fight. I need to learn how to act. I get this so many times. Oh, look at my son, or look at this guy, the best kicker in the world. I could care less. How's that going to make me money? How do I make you money? You're a producer, John. How do I make you money? I come out with quality product, proof of concept, because I've done it for 30 years. I could work fast or slow, depending on what your budget is. I can work, like I told you, I can work on feature films where we have 3 months to prep and shoot, or we can work in 4 weeks, or we have 2 hours to prep and shoot. That's my selling point to you, and I'm damn good at what I do. Why? Because I constantly work at it. That's all it is. I mean, the same approach you do to be a great boxer, now take that same mentality into this different arena. What do I need? Acting. I need stunt fighting. And I need, what are the tools of my trade? My tools of my trade are my acting, my body, and then whether it's business cards or whether it's portfolios, and
The mustache.
the mustache, yeah, pluck the grays out. And
I got to do that. Do you have one last question? And I always have more questions, but one last question. What's your favorite maneuver as a martial artist to throw out there?
You know what? Honestly, I am very, very fast with my hands, extremely fast. So I mean, I like to parry and strike simultaneously, and then to get into arm bars or to transfer that into another technique. That's my go-to. That's my go-to. Either intercept, or parry and strike, and then trap, arm bar, elbow, knees. That's my go-to all the time.
Do you have a favorite boxer or mixed martial artist of all time?
Yeah. I mean, martial artists. I mean, mixed martial artists. My two favorite are Randy, and probably because I know them and I've worked with them. Randy and Rampage. And boxer, I mean, I met Mike Tyson too when he did Ip Man 4. They did a screening in LA, and I met him. He was the humblest guy. The humblest guy. I don't know how he was in his 20s, but now in the last 40s, 50s, just a humble guy. Very, very, very warm. But I love Mike Tyson. I love Muhammad Ali.
That's what's wonderful about fighters, the discipline. I have the opportunity to meet a lot of great fighters where they were just so like down to earth and
Yeah,
so nice and so real. And I was like,
yeah,
man, whether it be Roy Jones, Evander Holyfield, I'm not trying to throw names out there,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it is what it is. But they were just amazing people to hang out with, very engaging and very awesome, just like yourself, Art. And again, what you do for fight film cinematography is absolutely remarkable. All right, let's face facts. And I think that we need that more nowadays in the film genre. Like, I mean, they're trying to get it back. We got Cobra Kai,
yeah.
which is good. We got certain things going on, but I think that we need those old school throwback martial arts films.
You know what? I think it's moving a little in that direction. Moving a little in that direction. It's very nostalgic. Like I don't know if you knew this, but I recently did a show for El Rey Network called the Camacho Experiment, and that was John. This I don't want to push. Don't want to do a bad plug, but I'm going to plug it anyway.
Plug it.
They in last year, I got a call from El Rey Robert Rodriguez, El Rey Network, that they wanted to do a martial arts talk show with me. And in my mind, at first, I was very hesitant. At first, I thought, okay, I'll do it, direct, produce it, I don't mind. They go, no, no, we want you to host it as well. I go, well, I can't do what you do, John. I mean, you did great. I'm not a host. And they go, but no, Art, we need a Latin. You're a martial arts. You're Latin. You're a director. You're a filmmaker. You fit the mold of what we need. I got together with my partner, Michael Masuda, because they had wanted us to do it together. And so I said, okay, Michael, let's do it. And we came up with this name. And the concept is basically what you're doing. But what I did, added even more. I made it Camacho style. So at the beginning of each episode, I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to introduce the show. And these guys are going to try to beat the shit out of me. So I'm trying to talk. Well, these guys are hitting me, sticks, fighting, kicking them off, choking me, having fun with it. And then we came up with a bitchin' title sequence, which I'll send to you. It's 30 seconds long. And I love this one song from one of my favorite bands, the Los Lonely Boys, called Rule the World. It is so powerful, so uplifting. And by hook or crook, I got them to license the song for my title sequence. I put film clips from my movies, cars exploding, people fighting, and that was the title sequence. And then in each episode, we show behind the scenes, and in each episode, we have one segment dedicated to teaching. So I get in the ring with Don. He shows me about self-defense. I get in the ring with Benny, with Graciela Casillas showing me knives, Cynthia Rothrock showing me the double hook sword. Fun, fun, fun. And we made it for the first phase. We'll know in a few weeks if we're Emmy nominated, but at least we're considered for an Emmy, which is kind of cool.
That is so exciting to hear. And you saw me like I had to get thrown back, but all right. So I lied. I have one more question for you, Art. Music,
Yeah.
favorite bands of all time. I know we spoke about it a little bit earlier.
But believe it or not,
Music has a lot to do with films and all that. What's your favorite music genre, man?
you won't believe it, man. But Elton John is my all-time favorite singer in the whole universe, man. I have every album. I have it on my iPod. I literally, the most to me is because of the lyrics, the music composition. It's like I'm an Elton John fan. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go see him his last concert, next year. It will be amazing. I am a
Funeral for a Friend is one of my favorite songs of all
oh
time. I saw Billy Joel and Elton John together
yeah.
at Madison Square Garden, which was ridiculous. I mean, the fact that I was at and witnessed two prolific,
Oh,
amazing artists, and
yeah,
then plus their whole band,
yeah.
because their band has to, we got to celebrate that band, man. Like, I mean, that band is tremendous. My
As a matter
my
of fact, I'm with you. Billy Joel's second favorite. I mean, God, I don't know what it is about those piano players. It's just the music and their songs, man,
Oh yeah, Angry Young Man, Billy
powerful.
Joel. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Um, my favorite bands: Queen, Rush,
Oh yeah, come on,
Zeppelin.
come on. Even heavy metal, I worked with, and I love Sebastian Bach. I
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
in a row, man.
Great
Back in the
singer.
day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I tell you, it's so funny because even the Stones and the Beatles, of course. But I actually met Elton John and had him autograph a few of my things. I have them there. I mean, priceless to me. I'm just such a freak when it comes to that shit, man. I really am. You know, in my life, I tell you, man. I said, you know what? I want to meet. I can't meet Bruce Lee, so next best thing, you meet the son, the daughter, the mother, the wife, the brother. You train with the students. I want to meet Elton John by hook or crook. I met him. We talked. Yes, I mean a few words. It's not like we're buds. Everything I've done, I've always set my mind to it, and somehow I become a stalker.
Can we talk about what that was like to meet Elton John? I mean, that's
It was
remarkable.
amazing. It was remarkable. It was a couple of times. Once for his foundation, he had an event here, and that was when we had just a couple of words. Another time was at Tower Records in Hollywood many years ago, and he was such a cool dude because that was the first time because I waited in line like 4 hours because he was come out with the CD and he was going to autograph it. And here's the thing, here's how cool he was: is that they were going to cut off the line like at 2 in the morning. They said that's it, but still they had 50, 60 people in line. And Elton and Bernie Taupin was there. He also signed my CD, and they said, no. You know what? We're not going to leave until the last person gets their autograph. And Tower Records didn't want to do it, but they said, screw it. We're going to do it. So they just did it, man. And that's what I'm saying. That's the kind of people they are. It's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing when you meet like people that you actually appreciate and you really love and admire. I mean, for me, I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of great people, boxers, musicians. I'm going to mention someone right now, Bobby Kimball from Toto,
Yeah.
the original lead singer of Toto, and I had the opportunity to work with him. And
Nice.
one of the most, oh, thank you, man, thank you, Art. One of the most nicest guys I've ever met on this planet Earth.
Yeah, it's
Like
so cool to hear.
so fucking like down to earth, cool. Um, other actors and stuff like that. Not to name drop, but I'll mention some that stand out. Eric Roberts.
Yeah.
Wow, man, what a cool dude. Like just
But how cool is it, man? The stuff we do, man. I'm gonna tell you, man. It's really cool. What you do, what I do, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun, to be honest with you. It has its perks.
that's exactly what it is. It has its perks. And then one more time, let our listeners know where we can follow you, Art, and what you have going on next, buddy.
Actually, thank God, this year has been amazing. I have two films that I'm doing, and one, later this month, and one in August, and then I'm directing another one like September, October, and we're talking about doing a series next year, which would be kind of fun. You know, very blessed. You know what? But again, and I think I don't know. Actually, I told you in our text message. It's not anything that I'm doing now that I'm hustling. No, it's the culmination of everything I've been doing. So all of a sudden, all these calls are coming, and coming. I think if you work, and I really believe that, again, it's a business. I'm easy to work with. I really don't complain. I'm very passionate. I'll tell you that much. If you're working with me, you're going to find out. F bombs go flying everywhere, but it's never directed at anybody. It's at circumstances. But when you get the result, you'll think, damn, I'm glad that son of a bitch yelled at me because look at how bitching I look. I'm serious because that's my experience is that you have to have passion in what you do, man. Yeah, just like you love what you do. I enjoy the shit out of what I do, really do.
Absolutely, man. It's all about passion, and I can't wait to catch up with you about some things that we could do together because
Absolutely.
I would love to collaborate with you and your martial arts experience and everything that you have going on. Like I talked to a lot of my friends in the martial arts universe today, and when they heard that I had you on the show today as a guest, they were like, "Holy shit!" I'm like, "Yeah, man."
No, thank
So,
you. Thank you. Seriously. Thank you very much.
Art, I mean, jeez, come on. look at the resume, bro. I have to do it. I'm, I'm not to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. Is that if you look at the resume of everybody you worked with, all the things you've done, what you've accomplished as a martial artist, what you've accomplished in film, as a stunt coordinator, as a film choreographer,
All
come
right.
on, brother.
Just, I'm very blessed, John. I'm very blessed. I mean, more than anything, just blessed. And the one thing that I do have is that, I got my ass kicked so many times, but I keep getting back up. I wipe the boogers off, the tears, and I keep getting back into that ring. And that's the only thing I can say that I have over a lot of people, because a lot of people give up, and I can't.
But you still have the mustache.
Man, I still have the mustache, buddy. Every
I'm
morning.
telling you all that are listening right now, maybe listening on the radio or maybe watching on YouTube, whatever. This guy's got an emphatic mustache that is remarkable. So you all gotta like get your mustache game on point because mine isn't so good, but my man Art over here.
It's not a process. It's 6 mirrors, 3 brushes, scissors.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much for this. It really means a lot to me. Thank you.